He's Adam. He's black. Is he any good? Let's find out. Hi kids, welcome to Terry on Tuesday. I did promise you a review of Black Adam, which I saw last night, so yeah, let's do that. Okay, so it's early in the morning and I'm really tired and I've got me a nice cup of coffee. It's better. Yeah, so Black Adam. What did I think of it? And now's your chance to predict what score I gave it out of 10. I always try to score movies out of 10. Anyway, so did I enjoy it? Yes, I did enjoy it. I'm notoriously a Marvel stan. I'm not going to use that word ever again, it's rubbish. I'm a fan of Marvel films and Marvel comics more than DC, and always have been. Love me some Batman, love me some Superman, love me Wonder Woman, and my favourite DC character is actually Plastic Man. The script for Plastic Man as a movie was written in the 2000s by the Wachowskis after they did The Matrix, or possibly before they did The Matrix, and it's never been made. So you've lost Jim Carrey. He's far too old to play Plastic Man now, so pull your finger out. Anyway, never mind. I enjoyed Black Adam. It was obviously Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's first superhero outing, and it's made, in the States at least, the most money for a Dwayne Johnson film, $67 million, which is not to be sniffed at, but I think in the UK it's not going to do as well. Yesterday was a Monday. It was the first Monday after the opening weekend in the UK, and the cinema had about, I would say, no more than 25 people in it. It was not great. But then again, it was a rainy Monday night, so maybe the weekend showings were better. I watched it at 7:30, by the way. Yeah, so I'm not going to go into spoilers, but near the end of the video, I will warn you there's a spoilery bit coming up regarding the post-credit scene, which you might know about. And if you don't know about it, then I'll warn you that there'll be a spoilery bit if you don't want to know what it is. So, Black Adam roughly tells the story of a godlike being from the Shazam universe, as you can probably guess because of the lightning bolt on his chest, and he's more of an anti-hero. He's looked up to by the people who revive him from his, millennia-long sleeps, and he goes about basically taking out anyone who gets in his way. He's not happy for most of it, but the cool thing about him is he comes across like Arnold Schwarzenegger in Terminator 2. He's kind of just getting used to this world and how it is, and when he starts learning about conversation and even jokes, even down to a complete steal where a young kid teaches him, doesn't teach him "Hasta la vista, baby," but he says something similar, and The Rock goes, I must remember that kind of thing, and he starts using it at different occasions, like "Hasta la vista, baby." It's reasonably fun. Let's go back to the story. So, a bunch of people are looking for a fabled crown made of a fabled material called Eternium. Eternium is this blue crystal type thing, which is, I guess, similar to kryptonite. So when a bunch of tomb raiders in a fictitious country called Kandak, which is, if you think Israel or that kind of thing, Iran, Middle Eastern type country, and they revive The Rock, aka Teth Adam, for that is his name, Teth Adam, and he goes around sort of taking out the bad guys with zero tolerance and zero mercy. So there's a lot of killing going on. Originally, apparently, the film was first rated at R, but they toned it down. And it is a family film. People just tend to explode rather than, blood and guts. So they call out the Justice Society of America, which is a bit like Justice League, only I would say second division. So you've got Hawkman, played by Aldous Hodge, who's really good. Then you've got Dr. Fate, played by Pierce Brosnan. He's a beloved comic character, Dr. Fate. He's very similar, I guess, to Doctor Strange. And I really liked him. He didn't have a lot to do, in all honesty, but some of his dialogue was good. Then you had Atom Smasher, who, again, not really up on the DC stuff, but I think he's related to the Atom, who you'll know from the TV shows, the CW shows, who were played by Brandon Routh. But Atom Smasher is a younger version. I think he mentions that his costume is a hand-me-down from his dad or something. And he can basically, he's DC's version of Ant-Man. He gets bigger. He doesn't get smaller. That's true. He doesn't get smaller. He gets bigger. And they do the whole white eyes with a bit of expression opening and closing, like Deadpool. So he's got that thing going on. He's a bit inexperienced, so he's the rookie of the team. And the final member is Cyclone, who is a young gal who is, again, DC's version of Storm. I'm not saying that Marvel came first. I'm just saying that, that's the best way to explain it, because Marvel ones appeared in the cinema first. So she's DC's version of Storm. She can control wind, essentially. So her and Atom Smasher first meet, and I don't think it was played for laughs. It was just played as a friendly moment. But if you think about it, it's the biggest double entendre. He says to her, what's your thing? And she says, wind. And she says, yours? And he goes, I get big. So anyway, Big and Wind. There's a spin-off movie, DC, you can have that. So yeah, they try to take out Black Adam with violence, and they get their asses handed to them on a plate, barely surviving, and then they decide, why don't we just talk to him instead, which is always a good idea. And he's like, I'm not listening, I do my own thing, I take people out. So there's this kind of, how can we stop Black Adam? But in the meantime, the bad guys are still after this crown, which has been stolen by the Tomb Raider. I forget her name. I forget her character's name as well. But she's your Middle Eastern Lara Croft. She's a great actress, and she's very hot. And her son gets kidnapped by the bad guys, so they all have to sort of reluctantly work together to rescue the son. And all heck ensues, Black Adam makes a promise to the team not to start killing people. And he very, very barely almost kills people who the Justice Society save. And they go, I thought you were going to kill people. He's like, I waited till you were there to save them, so nobody's dead. And it's like Terminator 2 when, Arnold promises, I swear I won't kill anyone. Bang. You said you won't kill anyone. You live. It's that kind of thing. So yeah, not too bad. Again, quite a lot in the film, quite a lot piled in, a lot of sort of windy path. I don't think superhero stories need to be that complex, with the false ends and twists and turns too much. It's essentially bad guys getting beaten up by good guys. But in general, one of the more fun DC movies. I think they've got their humour worked out now. Before they were completely humourless, going for gritty and dark all the time, which a lot of DC fans like, as opposed to Marvel's, joke every 2 minutes. But DC have kind of got this, or at least in this film anyway, they've got the humour worked out at a sensible pace. It's not overdone. It's not like, slapsticky or Suicide Squad-y. But at the same time, it's not completely humorless, which is good. What I like about Black Adam is they do a great deal of him, instead of he does walk around quite a bit when he likes to just walk through walls instead of doors. There's a great joke about that in the film. But he does a lot of this just floating up a few feet off the ground, just sort of spinning around, just floating around like that. That's just really cool. Apparently they built some robotic arm which would lift Dwayne Johnson up and just spin him around and hover him about, which must have been a pretty strong arm considering the size of the dude. He's massive. You do see Dwayne Johnson's character before he gets his buff body. So they've done like a sort of deep fake with a smaller body. Now, the smaller body is pretty buff. But when you see Dwayne Johnson's head on top of it, you go, it's Skinny Johnson. Now imagine being an actor who spends a lot of time at the gym and you've been told you've got to cast as a body double for Dwayne Johnson. You'd be quite chuffed. And then you find out that they've only used you from the neck down and you're Skinny Johnson. You're like, it took me years to get into this shape and I'm still half the size of The Rock. Yeah, so I think it was pretty good. It wasn't amazing. There were some nice scenes and The Rock wasn't really playing himself as much. He toned down the charm because he was playing quite a stoic, humorless character. But in all, it was pretty good. It was nice to see him do something slightly different and slightly more sinister. He remains sinister near the end of the film. Obviously, he doesn't die. That's not a spoiler. No one's going to beat him. Okay, so here comes spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. In the post-credit scene, and this was probably for me the best part of the film, he gets a video message off Amanda Waller, who basically is the woman who put together the Suicide Squad, etc. And she warns him to stay in his country and stay in his lane or whatever, and don't cause too much trouble, or we'll take you out. And he's like, take me out. I don't care. No one on the planet can stop me. And she says, well, I know people who aren't from the planet who can stop you. Spoiler alert, by the way. And he says, bring them all. Send them all. And then he destroys the video screen or whatever it is. And all of a sudden, a shadowy figure floats down through the clouds. And stepping out of the darkness is Superman, played by Henry Cavill. He's got a much brighter suit on. It's very similar to the standard suit, but you can see the red and the yellow and the blue a lot brighter now. His hair's better. Whereas in the most recent, the last outings of Superman is Batman v Superman and Justice League. He was very sort of slicked back like Dean Cain with lots of Brill cream with the old receding hairline. They've given him a bit more curly hair, a bit more than me, in fact. And I'm sure they've given him the S-curl. And on Henry's Instagram, in the last couple of days.
Hey everyone, I wanted to wait until the weekend was over before posting this because I wanted to give you all a chance to watch Black Adam. But now that plenty of you have, I wanted to make it official that I am back as Superman. And the image you see on this post and what you saw in Black Adam are just a very small taste of things to come. So there's a lot to be thankful for, and I'll get to that in time. But I want to thank you guys most of all. Thank you for your support and thank you for your patience. I promise it will be rewarded.
And he's wearing the S-curl in his head there. And he looks great. And again, the story behind all this is that the reason he didn't make an appearance in Shazam, it was a body double from there down, was because they weren't sure if Henry Cavill was coming back. Apparently Walter Hamada, the former runner of Warner Brothers, didn't even want Henry Cavill back, but The Rock, Dwayne Johnson himself, who shares the same manager as Henry Cavill, so that helps, The Rock campaigned and insisted that Superman come back. So good on you, Dwayne. Give us our Superman back. There will always be lots of love for Christopher Reeve. The first guy to do Superman on the big screen, if you don't count the black and white, film serials. He set the tone for Superman. But Henry Cavill, in modern times, there is no one better. He's easily one of my favorite actors now, because he's just so goddamn likable. Apart from being handsome as F, buff, but he's British as well, obviously, but he's just nice. He's just polite, much like Dwayne Johnson. Now, Dwayne Johnson is, he comes across as a super nice guy. Who knows? These people may be assholes behind closed doors. It might be, you meet them and they turn out to be, a massive disappointment. But their public persona, they come across as super nice, super genial, pleasant, polite, humble, not boasty. So yeah, you instantly like Dwayne Johnson and Henry Cavill, and Henry Cavill's a great ambassador for Superman. He loves Superman, and it shows. And it's great that we're going to get to see a new film with him. So his character in the post credits scene, he steps out of the thing and he says something to Black Adam like, I don't think he introduces himself as Superman, but he says something like, I forget what he says. He says, it's sort of nice to meet you or something, Black Adam. And then he goes, Black Adam says something like, I'm not afraid of you or whatever, I'm not afraid of anyone. And then he says, we should talk. And that's it. And he smiles. But in the background, you can hear the John Williams, which a lot of people have disagreed with because they think they should use the Man of Steel theme, which admittedly isn't as iconic as the John Williams Superman. But, I don't mind it. Superman is Superman in all things. I don't even mind if Batfleck runs in under ding, 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 Batman. What the heck? It's still Batman. Tom Holland can have Spider-Man from the 60s. I don't care. The heroes are the heroes. Anyway, most of my score for this movie will be angled at the 1 minute post-credit sequence just for having Henry Cavill back. So what did I score it? A couple of people have hazard guesses on my Facebook page. I would give Black Adam... Oh, yeah, now do I compare it to other DC films and score it that way, or compare it to every film I've ever seen in general? I'll go generally. As a film, I'll give it a 6. It would have had a 5, but they put Henry Cavill in, so it gets an extra point for that. Good fun for everyone, even youngsters are watching it. Again, it's not a laugh a minute, it's not slapstick a minute, so youngsters might find it a bit boring because there's not too much funny stuff in it. But it's a solid superhero movie. It does suffer a little bit from lots of things flying around in midair, CG characters throwing each other into things, and lots of lightning. But essentially, it's a nice introduction to the character. I'm sure we'll see him again, obviously. And I hope it does better than it currently seems to be doing in the UK. But I think the hype will kick off and people will know about the spoilers and stuff. And it'll, make a decent amount of money. It's nice to see DC getting back to it after the shake-ups at Warner and David Zaslav, the new owner of Warner Brothers, cancelled Batgirl and a load of TV shows and projects because he's a bit of a tyrant, but at the end of the day, he's got a vision. So he's doing a lot of chopping and changing to put forth his vision of a new DC comic books universe. And we'll have to see how that pans out. The Flash will be next, obviously, I think. We're never going to see Batgirl unless someone leaks it. Please leak it. And that's Black Adam for me. So again, not as gritty and dark as the Snyder movies, but it does feel like it fits into the Snyder universe. Pierce Brosnan is pretty good. Just for dialogue terms, his character isn't as amazing as you'd expect. But he does what he needs to. Hawkman's pretty good. He's tougher than you expect. Atom Smasher and Cyclone are the second stringers, and they're a little bit, I wouldn't say wasted, but a little bit lame in a way. They can't compete with Black Adam. Anyway, that was my review of Black Adam. 6 out of 10. Would have been a 5, but Henry Cavill's in it. So yeah, worth a watch though. Worth a watch. And you don't have to have any prior knowledge of DC superhero movies to understand it. There are plenty of references to Batman and even little clips of Batman, Aquaman, Wonder Woman. Are there any previous clips of Superman? No, I think it's just Batfleck, Wonder Woman and The Flash. So yeah, go watch. That's been my review. Sorry this video has been really boring, but I'm working on day job and trying to get the final draft of Bloody Students, my film, link below. finished before Christmas. I think I'll get there. I think it'll be good. But we've got lots coming up because I've got the Liverpool Comic Con with Marvin to do, and see, I've gone blank. It sounds like I've got nothing to do. I've got loads to do. Anyway, I'll let you know in due course. Next week, if my calculations are right, we begin the experiment. What is the experiment? I'll tell you next week. Take care now. Bye bye then.